try to drag this out to 5 games. But Polaris, they're looking good to, secure that road to TI here, Mike.
Let's see how it all pans out. Game number 4. Talon, they need this game for victory. We'll get started. Do you want to do some predictions, John? We've still got some time. I know there's a 5-on-5 smoke, but usually these are just for wards. So 4 predictions, John. What are you thinking?
301 plus. Trees almost always tend to get wrecked out, no matter what the lineup is, and you do have rebound here. Total number of player deaths at game end, I can see this being a 41 to 55 game. Will a tower be denied? Oh, that's such a 50-50 thing. I'd say yes. Team with the first tower kill, Polaris. There you go.
Thank you for that, John. I do like the switch up here from Makoto as well, right? Like Invoker into Ember is definitely Invoker favored. Just being able to purge off the Flame Guard with the Tornadoes never feels nice for the old Ember. CS wise, Lelouch should still have a good time, but certain timings, especially once you have the Urn up on Makoto, it can get very frustrating with the Cold Snap combo. See how Lelouch tries to play this one out. Get a nice deny on the Observer Ward already. That was his own Observer Ward, though, to be fair. Just denying that gold away. It's now Makoto.
The battle begins.
In fact, I said it was his own Observer Ward, but it was not actually. It was the Dire's side, excuse me. 2 for 2 trade on the Bounty Runes. Very even start in terms of net worth. We'll start off with the mid lane here, John. Lelouch, he's going to be on that mid Ember. He's going to be against Makoto's Invoker. What are you thinking about this mid matchup?
Again, it should be Makoto favorite. I feel like the Ember does have pretty good play up till level 3, level 4. That's when the Invoker starts to get really annoying. But before that, you can play around with your Sleight of Fist. You can try to harass out. Invoker doesn't have the highest armor in the world, so Sleight of Fist will do significant damage every time. And Lelouch does avoid the first EMP use, so already getting a lot of value, a lot of harassment out onto Makoto. And he doesn't have quite the level yet for the Quas. So, you're going to feel a lot better for Lelouch whenever you do gap close and twack away. But again, once the levels go up, Invoker should be able to equalize. But if Lelouch finds rune control in this game once more, I think Makoto is going to have a pretty awkward time in trying to really push that Ember down a bit here.
Well, let's have a look at the side lanes as well while we have a chance. That bottom lane, Q, KP, Pos 3 Marcy, Pos 4 Quap against AU's Omni Knight and Natsumi on the position 1 Luna. You mentioned in the draft, we've seen this Luna from Natsumi many, many times. KP has been running quite a bit of position 3 Marcy as well. Really seems to enjoy this in the offlane role. Against AU's Omni Knight, though, it feels like it's going to be kind of hard to really harass them, but as I say that, they do make a jump in. KP doesn't have level 2 yet, so can't dispose, but plenty of harassment being thrown out towards the Luna already.
And this is key when you're laning up against the Omni Knight. Early levels for Omni, downtime on Heavenly Grace is still pretty big, so you have some good windows to just apply that harass onto Natsumi and get some space for KP to just farm and get the denies he needs to slow down that lane. Good lane start for KP, 10-2 in the CS. A little bit behind on Natsumi, but kind of to be expected, with Q just kind of twacking away with no care and having the Scream to threaten, to harass. And AU, he only really has the one Mango. He has a Clarity on hand, but once the man is out here, the lane's a lot tougher.
Yeah, AU in trouble now. Heavenly Grace is there. KP going for the sidekick rather than the dispose, so can't toss AU back. It's going to be just fine. Because that top lane, we were having a gander at it in just a moment, and 23 Savage is going to be there on that position 1 Slark. Once again, this man has found a lot of success on this pos 1 Slark. He'll be supported by Hyde. He'll be against Xavius in that position 4 Coddle and the pos 3 Undying of Force. You'd imagine is favorable for the Slark, but he still does need to be somewhat cautious against that Undying. The Tombstone is going to be dropped. Doesn't really amount to much here for the Undying, but does zone out the Slarkers. Now Hyde's going to try and get aggressive. Onto Xavius, a lot of damage being dealt. One more right click will do it, and they find it. Hyde, great first blood pickup, realizing he was out of position on the Coddle, and with the glimpse back, does manage to secure.
Yeah, he gets first blood, and he manages to find a Tombstone. So Hyde manages to get himself his early boots up. This is a pretty rough lane for Slark overall, though. You can see that in Savage's CS. It's not safe for him to walk up. And with the early Soul Ring, with the Chakra up, the spam on the K, and the threat of an Illuminate, I mean, Slark just dies from one Illuminate early on if you get enough decay up. So Savage really has to watch his spacing here.
So those decays force. Already 20 strength there on the Undying. Very hard to deal with. Such an annoying off lane to have to try and fight against here as Savage pounds away. Still copying so much, and it's hard with the Chakra Magic right behind the Undying. The bot lane, Natsumi again being terrorized here by Talon. The +4 Quap very, very good with that Shadow Strike. AU trying his best to keep Natsumi up and healthy. There's only so much he can do at the level 2 mark. Would much prefer the level 3. At least on the Omni Knight. And but for now, Talon, at least in the offlane, are having an extremely good time. KP's basically free farming on this +3 Marcy.
He's getting the build up, but I don't think you mind too much for Natsumi because he can flash farm the jungle really quick. And that's the one concern. The Slark can't do the same. With this kind of slower starts for both cores, it still favors the Luna overall, as long as some space is created in the jungle.
Hyde again top lane, getting very aggressive onto Xavius. It's that level 2 Thunder Strike, and it does so much damage as Hyde. Glimpse back is there, Savage out of range, but it won't matter. Hyde able to secure another kill onto the Coddle, and with that damage on Glimpse now, it's just easy for Hyde.
Yeah, he's finding some good punishment. It's not really relieving this pressure on Savage, though. Like, Force is still able to just control this lane so well. And Savage down to, 500 HP max is not a great feeling. It's still really dangerous, and the Slark is still not finding farm. So even with the kills Hyde is finding, for one, your Slark's not getting assist gold because he's not really helping there. And your Slark is still not farming. So it's a sacrifice that Polaris is more than happy to make here.
So far, so good. Savage, very, very low. The Illuminate not going to fly through and connect on the Slark. Doing a very good job of making Savage feel uncomfortable in this top lane. Hyde the real savior here on the Disruptor, that's for sure, as Hyde again going to try and sneak up from the back. Does not want to deal with the Undying, only wants Xavius. That's all he wants. Not going to have the opening this time. Meanwhile, bottom lane, again, AU. Going to be targeted on the Omni, being body blocked here by KP. But they don't have any follow-up spells, so AU is going to be okay. In fact, now Natsumi's the one pulling the creep wave. Just such desperate times here for the Luna. A really just terrible start here for the Luna in this laning stage. Talon doing a fantastic job in the offlane of slowing this man down. So Natsumi forced to just pull the creep wave back and equalize the lane a little bit. KP will not leave him alone, however, just continues to steal creeps away.
Just get what you can. They do kill off Savage up top. Again, that's the one issue there. Like, even if Hyde finds those kills, there is no saving Savage in the lane. It's just a atrocious lane, even as, I'd say, worse than Natsumi. Because again, the Luna can still flash farm. There's a Mask of Madness build up coming out for Natsumi. Eventually, he'll find that gold. And for Savage, nothing fixes a Slark's lane. There's nothing you can go for to flash farm.
They're trying to get aggressive. KP's in. Sidekick was popped, but they are going to back off. They don't have the lockdown. +3 Quap really only, +4 Quap really only has the slow with the Shadow Strike, so a little bit awkward trying to make that jump in. They will be able to survive once again down a bot lane. The mid lane, something we haven't talked about for a while. John Lelouch top of the CS board right now on the Ember. Meanwhile, top lane, there was a Tombstone dropped, as you just saw. Force trying to get aggressive. He's going to be forced to back off. Rotations are in. Makoto, he'll join with the EMP Cold Snap onto the Undying. Force cannot decay. Chakra Magic is there. He'll try to survive, but the Tornado is going to connect. They do manage to punish, but here comes Lelouch. He'll at least find Hyde on the Disruptor. Chain's not going to land on Makoto, though. A little bit unlucky there for Lelouch. They find a support for a position 3 trade. Still Xavius keeping tabs on Makoto. Chakra Magic up on Lelouch, but no, the chains again. Not going to land on Makoto. Now the Ghosts walk away and they don't have the detection for him. Oh, 2 chains in a row not connecting on the Invoker. Makoto, he'll be very happy about that. It's Q now. Blink forward, trying to find more targets. We'll give the glimpse vision for Hyde. AU. Still a tanky Omni Knight. His chains are going to connect onto the Q Quap, but he is fine to back off. Makoto will back him up with the Tornado EMP. He'll be just fine.
Yeah, that works out for Talon in the end, but that's massive commitments from both sides. Lelouch, had a remnant to say, was dropping pretty low from that aggression. Still, in that interim period, you do get a little bit more out from Polaris. Like, they lose a couple of heroes, but Natsumi works his way towards mid. Finds a space to free farm in just a little bit and actually has the Morbid Mask up. So he's got some lifesteal. He can play in the jungle now. Level 1 Glaive's not amazing, but the farm can start to pour in. KPM, he has a free lane. That investment needs to pay off. That BKB, if it is fast, does provide a lot of openings. Talon shoving in mid just a bit, but their lineup isn't the fastest to push without KP around. And they've already lost their top tower. So Polaris can put a big dent onto Savage's farm. You can just see him jungling. It's not the fastest progress for the Slark.
Certainly isn't. Not easy to catch up on the Slark either. Still, Force is kind of getting pincered in here. Hyde, Q, they're both around, looking around for the Undying, but Force is just hiding very effectively. Now does show up, will drop the Tombstone. Savage, he does have the Shadow Dancer. He'll keep the fight going. He has his supports around, but they're giving more strength away of Force. He's actually a very, very tanky target, as even Makoto's going to show up. And once again, we're seeing another game with Talon. Their only objective right now is shutting down Force's off lane. They do not want this man having a good laning stage or a good game.
Put a little bit of a dent in it. I think Force at this point is just kind of doing his job, though. Like, you are buying space for your bigger heroes. You're allowing Natsumi and Lelouch to get that build up, get some space in the lanes to farm up. And again, if you do manage to build up on the Luna, it can become a little bit of a problem, but we'll have to see what Force does off. Nah, he just goes back top, so he still wants to just keep track of Savage. Talon now grouping mid here.
Chains out. He does manage to get it on Hyde, but the double damage is still going to go the way of Makoto, and that's the whole point. Lelouch continues with the chase. Chakra Magic will be there, so a refresh, and there you go. Lelouch finds something. In fact, Makoto, he's the big target, but a nice tornado will fly through Lelouch. Does he want to keep the chase going? In comes more TPs. KP, he'll show up. Rebound out. Onto AU. They found the Omni Knight. He'll try to purify, but it's not going to be enough. AU's gone. Back into the mid lane, Lelouch, he's still playing around with Makoto, buying time for his team to try and make their way over, but nobody's coming. Lelouch is in dire straits, and he's going to drop. Makoto picks up a double on the Invoker. They are not allowing any openings for Polaris whatsoever this game for.
Yeah, it's a big shakeup for Talon. They're playing much more aggressively. They're finding the openings they want to now. And the side of Polaris, they're responding in kind. But they have to be careful about bleeding out like that, especially to the Invoker. Like Mikado, when he's going into the Witchblade, he's got the room to kind of finish that up shortly. And all that aggression mid means that Savage, he only has to deal with just the Undying, but with no threat of that Illuminate out from Xavius. The Slark feels comfier farming up. And Savage is working towards that same build-up we saw last time. Falcon Blade power threads up into the Diffusal, Ags, BKB. So he's set to at least get a decent enough timing from the Diffusal, considering he died once in the lane. And same thing kind of goes for Natsumi, though. Mask of Madness up on Luna. The farming pace is kicking up, already ahead of Savage. So Polaris are still equalizing fairly well. And I think the pressure's more on Talon to actually be aggressors. They need to be able to get some aggressive wards. They need to find some early towers somehow. They will go for a smoke play here with Hyde and Makoto.
Down towards the south side. Into that Radiant jungle they go, Talon. Scan is not going to catch anyone, but Natsumi is around that area. If they keep drifting towards the left side into the mid lane, they will find him eventually. Problem is, Polaris, they do show up in the same area, so they are ready to protect their Luna. In fact, Tornado, it's going to fly out onto the Keeper. Static Storm will be dropped. They will pick up Xavius. Savage will take that one. Chains out, but without the Coddle to give you the Chakra Magic onto Lelouch, they won't want to keep this fight going. Polaris, they'll accept the Coddle death.
Yeah, they have to kind of give it away. Talon, they do actually manage to find a tier 1 bot just from KP. He's been given way too much room, it feels like, on Marcy and Force
getting caught out again. Makoto not allowing this Undying a game. He'll pick up another. Great performance from Makoto so far, 3-0 and 3. Making it very challenging for Polaris. It's now a 3-9, 3k advantage the way of Talon. And that bad laning stage that Savage had, it's no longer really there. He's caught up in net worth quite effectively.
Yeah, number 3 in net worth. KP number 1, because KP is just farming down bot. I mean, this guy's BKB, man. It's going to be up soon. Marcy with BKB time, you've seen this multiple times before, Mike. This is scary for the side of Polaris if they're not careful. They do at least have the save with a Guardian Angel, but again, with a good Tornado here from Mikado, the basic Dispel more than enough to remove that ult until the BKBs are up. So you still have some good timings for Talon to kind of play around with here. Natsumi's still farming quite nicely. He's found some room for himself, and they are grouping up mid to look for their own shove in here.
Dire's middle
Yeah,
tower is
they're gonna try. Hugh's got the Sonic Wave up on that Pulse 4 Quap.
radiant are
Can rather hard to push into this. Hyde has Static Storm up available, but there's your Tombstone. That's gonna zone everyone from Talon out. Lelouch will keep hunting around with that Sleight of Fist, just getting information for his team.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And it seems like Talon, they're just gonna let this one go. They're not interested in the defense. They'd rather keep buying time for that farm to keep going. And I suppose when you are this far ahead, like, you may as well just keep the farm going, because like you mentioned, KP has the BKB on the way. He'll work on towards a basher later, and we've seen how strong this POS 3 Marcy can be with these kind of item timings. He's basically a POS 1 in his own right.
Yeah, and he's not been punished at all. So the timings are going to be really nice. They have that fresh BKB. They could go for a smoke play, and they will. And Hyde is also saving up for the Ags. And he has not been punished since dying in the laning phase. So if he manages to keep finding these assist kills and gets that build up into the Ags time, I mean, even the BKBs won't save you here.
Here we go. Wrap around through the Radiant Triangle Talon. Playing a very fast-paced game. AU gonna get caught out. They'll hold him down. Can he buy some time? Buy some space? Not really. He is just gonna drop too much damage from KP.
fortified.
Not the biggest pickup, but it does allow them the opening for the tier 1 mid tower now for Talon.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Yeah, they can just get that jump going. No worries about the saves now. And they still have the Unleash open.
Rebound not gonna connect on anything. There's the Unleash, or rather the sidekick. Unleash not even being expended yet by KP. Not going to take too long to take this tier 1 tower down, especially with the siege creep incoming from the Dire side. Still a big group up. Polaris, they want to try and force the fight. He's got that Tombstone available, but the tier 1 tower's already gone. Hyde now looking for a glimpse back into the Static Storm, has found Force once again. That's the target they love to go for, and with the Sonic Wave they secure. Force drops once again as AU. Tornado, it's going to be enough. Makoto picks up the second. And the Marcy, KP, able to TP out safely. Nobody dropping from Talon. They now hold a 5k advantage their way on the Dire end.
Treat to 12 here, going Talon's way as well. The item timings are just lining up. Savage one part into the Ags already.
Radiant's top
Only
tower
about
is under
2,300 gold away, so not that far off from that key timing now on the Slark. Whereas Natsumi, you expect the Luna to have a lot more with how fast this hero can farm, but Natsumi's been shoved away from the triangle, having to play on the longer bot jungle. There's not that much ward coverage here from Talon, so they haven't been able to punish. And it does feel like for Polaris at this point, you are looking to stall for that win condition. I mean, even the Lelouch needs a little bit of time for his BKB. And once you have these BKBs on these two cores, that's when the game kind of simplifies. Even Force, despite the slower game, is also getting slowly but surely closer to that BKB. So that'll counteract Talon's jumps in. And that'll counteract the aggression Talon wants to bring out until the Ags is up on Hyde. Again, this is a support disruptor. The Ags does take quite a while here.
It's still decent timing from Hyde. You got to give it to him. I mean, 17 minutes in. I know it's not amazing, but he's getting there. Hyde's very sacrificial as a POS 5 as well, keep in mind. That's why they, I believe you told me that's why they call him Giga Hyde. Just the Giga Chat of the team. He just does whatever needs to be done.
That he does. Polaris, what they need to get done, play a patient game. They've been providing a few too many openings towards Talon. We need to see that discipline once more. You know, just get some vision down, get some D-wards down, farm safely, sacrifice your supports, and just get the build-up. Oh, they even find a Philostone on Talon. So Hyde, and the Ags is just going to be that much faster, Mike.
Oh, lucky man. That's what you love to see as a POS 5. And what's up lane Savage? He's going to have a hunt around, see if he can find a straggler. Nobody going to be there. They're all TP out. Back into the mid lane they go. Polaris in a position where they have to keep grouped up as a team and don't allow single pickoffs here against Talon. Because they just excel at that with this Invoker Slark combo. How even the POS 3 Marcy could just solo you right now. And speaking of that Marcy, KP, he's not going back for that standard bashel we tend to see. Looks like he's going straight into a nullifier.
That's what they need. A way to clear out that Guardian Angel, a way to clear out that save. And Marcy is very proficient with the Nullifier, focusing one hero down here.
Tornado's not going to connect. Makoto, he gets caught with the chains out. They will make the jump in, but Static Storm is there. Force, he does have a BKB up, so he'll run right through the kinetic field, continuing onto the Invoker. They'll find Hyde, but Makoto's still running. Lelouch is on the chase, but now Savage is going to make the jump in. Chakra Magic there to try and help out with the Guardian Angel, but Lelouch, he's dropping way too low and he's out of mana. He can't keep the fight up. So Talon, they lose Hyde, but they protect Makoto. They won't mind that. In fact, I say that, Makoto's going to jump back in. Force was there in the tree line. Still trying.
Oh,
Rebound is there. Oh, they found Natsumi. Sonic Wave out. They've blown him up. Great setup here from KP as now Lelouch. Still out of mana. In dire straits is going to drop. Mega kill for Makoto. This is much more like the Talon we know.
Yeah, they're playing aggressive. They're forcing Polaris to make jumps on them, and they sacrifice Hyde, but he already dropped the Static Storm in when he forced the BKB use out from Force really early on. So they see that opening with a spell immunity down. They jump in. They manage to get some punishment. 4-14, 8k lead up. Savage, 170 gold away from the full ags. Once he has that double pounce with a range, it's going to be a lot easier to lock in someone like Lelouch here. And he needs that BKB. He's only about 180 gold away himself. So the timing for Lelouch, he needs to just, clear out a creep wave or two, get that BKB before the next engagement. And that's when you can go back in. That should, well, it actually doesn't align with Natsumi's own BKB. Unfortunately, he's further away. And Talon, they see a double damage rune here, Mike. And Savage going to be enjoying that with his fresh ags.
And that would probably, you just saw on the screen, 90% already for Talon. Ag's not going to be picked up yet, though. Still will spot it out. Maybe just hold it for the Slark. Here you go. Makoto. Moving in onto Xavius. Unable to connect with the Tornado, so he's okay to back his way out. Well, I mean, he is hitting very hard right now, KP.
There you go. Yeah,
That's
with the left tee up as well. Plus 237. Look at that. Machine gun.
That is a lot of damage. You get him, KP.
Man, Polaris, they don't have vision in that area, Mike. They don't have any forward wards. Their one ward is on the lane, which can spot smokes, but doesn't spot the Roche. So secondary life up on Savage. TP's down bot. Mikado already scouting out here with a Ghost Walk. Good scan,
Nice
though.
scan. Natsumi, he knows, but the problem is Makoto's still closing the gap. Just needs a Tornado to throw out, but by the T2 tower, they may not try. So 9k advantage ages the way of Talon. Feels like everything's gone their way this game. Polaris, they're in the position where they've just got to buy more and more time. Natsumi's nowhere near the net worth he needs to be to carry this game. It's way too far behind, and as a Luna, always make this point, but you want to have the net worth advantage. He does not.
No.
Xavius will pause, maybe a few lag issues going on here, but Talon in prime position to force us to a 5th game.
Yeah, and it's looking like 6 flights are going to have to be rebooked tonight from the other tournament org. I do. Well, I'm sure.
I'll take a bus.
It can't be helped.
You
can't take a bus. Have you seen the country, Mike? How do you take a bus through a sea? Excuse me? I know Australia's a desolate wasteland, Mike. The Philippines is a bunch of uncaring waters in between. I mean, you could actually take a bus
to the sea, and then take a boat.
Take a bus. That's a 3-day trip.
All right.
That legitimately is. I've always wanted to try that. It does sound like a fun thing. It also doesn't quite sound fun to try that when storms can randomly pop up as well. So it is exciting. Not in the way that I like my exciting though, Mike. I like roller coasters more. They're comfy, calculated risks for the most part.
I still
Not
don't
like
know
a
what
Raging
you find
Sea.
so comfy about a roller coaster, Jonathan.
It's just
I don't know
great,
what you
Mike.
find so comfy.
Roller coasters are so fun. Just the G-forces you experience, the speed. I mean, it's just fun. Still, what is more fun is actual Dota as we get the unpause here, Mike. So back into the game. Polaris. I'm back to that point about Natsumi. He needs way more. I mean, at the least with the BKB, he has some presence here. So this is the point where Natsumi can contribute in these team fights. He's not just going to be a sitting duck. at least until
Radiant's bottom
the Ags
tower
of Hyde,
is
which is
under
honestly, the progression has been pretty smooth. 1.7k away, 1.6k away, into the blink right afterwards. He knows what he needs to do in this game. And Talon, they're just grouping up for objectives, going for the safe plays. They have control of bots, so they'll try to take the tower, forcing the fortify out early.
Radiant's bottom
Creep wave, it's gonna survive long enough, and there's no defense here from Polaris.
T2 tower freely given to Talon. They'll be very satisfied with that. There's a 4-man smoke here from Polaris, but they're going to be smoking right into the Aegis. I suppose they're in a position where they just need to do something this game. Into that Radiant jungle they go. Polaris. Oh, Slark jumps right into them. Savage, Balls of Steel, onto the Omni Knight. He wants AU first. Guardian Angel's going to be there, but the Shadow Dance has been popped as well. Keep in mind, Savage does have the Depth Shroud to boot, but they look like they need to back. Talon, not able to keep this fight going. Not for now anyway. They only lose Hyde, but Savage gets chained up. It won't be enough. Dark Pact, pounce away. He's going to be all right.
That was at least one BKB out from Lelouch, though. You still have it ready on Force, and you still have it ready on Natsumi, so the re-engage for Talon, not quite comfy. They are still standing around in the high ground, but not going to be able to try to punish Lelouch for not having that protection. So good hit and run coming out from Polaris. Not the biggest kill, but you do apply some pressure back, and you do stall out just a tad bit on that Ag's timing of Hyde, which is still a big item to look out for.
Pounce again. He's going to find Force. That Undying hasn't had the best game, and Savage will just keep going, but won't have enough to cancel the TP. Just pouncing right back out. Looking at that mid-tier 2 tower now, Talon want another objective for themselves. But I say that Savage, he's still dealing with Lelouch here down at the bot lane. He's just got so many Essence Shift stacks right now. Like Xavius, oh, he tried for the 4 stuff. He's not making it up. He does go down. KP even trying to fight them from the low ground. Here is this Marcy. She's not that broken, KP. Get out of there.
I mean, he does have the broom handle, so he has that little bit of extended range and can hit through the cliff if you want to, if you find the right position. So they managed to find a support pick off themselves. Without the Chakra Sleight of Fist, poking and prodding is a little bit tougher for Polaris, and they're just going to have to fortify already once more on that refresh fortify from the tier 2 take. Stalls out another objective for Talon, but it's still killing off the space they need for Natsumi. I mean, he's going to try to dip out the farm. There are some wards from Talon to spot him, though.
Savage, pouncing around, looking for a bit more. He's on the chase for Natsumi. There's your pounce out, onto the Luna. He's found a great target, but he is surrounded by a lot of heroes. He'll pop the Depth Shroud. Now has the Shadow Dance as well if he needs it. Natsumi still being chased down. Savage just taking so many stats away. But now with that Shadow Dance, he does need to be cautious. Back out towards the creep wave once again. It's the same story with the Slark every single time with Savage. He just gets so aggressive once he has the axe up. No fear in the world, especially with the bonus shards up. Talon, for now, going to be forced to back off. They can't take any more objectives yet, but they are dominating the map completely.
Yeah, and I don't think Talon minds the slower pace all too much. I mean, you still worry about potentially seeing this Luna somehow bounce back in. It can be a massive threat. You know, the saves from AU are still really annoying until the first few nullifiers come out, which KP does have on hand. So you at least have one target that you can focus on during Guardian Angel here. Makoto? I mean, he's by himself, but there's no one to jump him, unfortunately. It's just AU and Natsumi getting some good vision out. So they are getting some wards to ensure they've got info as to whether or not Talon's looking to shove in the lane. That'll allow Natsumi to maybe just farm a little bit more aggressive.
Lelouch! Oh, he barely gets the remnant away. Nice attempt from Talon. They were so close. Sunstrike. Nah, it's off the mark. He's alright. He's alright. We'll get back to the fountain. We'll have the Maelstrom up now, so more ways of split pushing. Keep the game going. Buy Natsumi more time. They're looking back at Natsumi's net worth. He's just so far behind. And every time you see Savage just jumping in, you can really tell the difference between the Luna and the Slark.
Yeah, it's not a comfy game for Natsumi. Just no map space to build up. And you just don't have that much presence just with Mask of Mantis, BKB, and Dragonlance. It really isn't enough for this hero. You don't have a Manta. The Satanic's a bit of a pipe dream. Butterfly's a long ways off. Silver Edge as well. Really not options right now. He needs that Hurricane Pipe to defend from the pounce himself. And that's going to be big. I mean, until Savage gets his own sort of nullifier out, you don't have a way of just stopping them for staffing out. So, I love the response coming out here from the side of Polaris. This itemization is allowing them to keep this game kind of stalled out. Savage, he doesn't have Aegis, and everyone's up here.
They are, but
They
can
don't
they
opt.
actually lock him down? Like, he's got Depth Shroud, he's got Shadow Dance, he's got Dark Pact. It's just so impossible, it feels, to lock him down throughout these fights. And he comes again, just no fear in the world, just running up the high ground of the triangle. Will pounce back out. They are waiting for that next Roshan, but it is going to be a while away. Polaris, once that next Rosh is up, really cannot afford to let Talon take it for free. But with the way this game's gone, you kind of question how they can even force a fight. Talon have played this so cleanly now, this game 4. So dominant so far. Savage, he's deep, but again, there's just nothing to hold him down long enough. He can just Dark Pact off everything.
Yeah, it goes back to the draft. Right, like Polaris, they open up with the Undying, they follow up with the Omni Knight support, and the Slark just knows there's nothing to be scared of. It's a very free Slark game for Savage once more. They're clumping around Lelouch once again down bot here, but he does hide in the tree line. See if he takes the bait here, though.
He's going to go for the creep wave. Going to hide in the trees, but he was spotted that time. Lelouch actually going to show up. Q will jump in with a scream, just forces him back with the remnant. While that was happening, Savage has now got the full Skadi up. I believe I saw it. In fact, hold that thought, because Savage, he's getting to work again. Xavius going to force Staff away. They even forced the Tombstone drop from Force. But the net worth lead is now 17k their way on the side of Talon. And Hyde's got the Ags up as well on the Disruptor. Times only get worse.
Oh yeah, that's the big one. He's gonna have the level 2 Static Storm up shortly as well. So they've got a way of just stopping that escape coming out from Lelouch, which has been a bit of a factor in the initial phases of the fight. As long as he has mana, he's always gonna be able to do some good chip damage with the Kotl around. And the 4 staff saves are kind of cutting off Savage's solo pick-off potential here. Still on the hunt though.
Topside AU. Immediate TP away. Meanwhile, bottom lane, a fight to break out as they do have Hyde on the Disruptor and they do pick him off. Force will take that one on the Undying. So another kill onto the Pos 5 Disruptor. Not the biggest deal for Talon. They'll just immediately retreat. Makoto would be a much bigger kill, but nobody in position to catch him out. Like, you're just so reliant on Lelouch being able to jump in with the chains. That's really all you've got. There's nothing else to catch anyone. No sight devices yet either. Like, a Hex would really help. But you don't have the net worth. I mean, at least Xavius is trying to get it, but it's a whiles off.
Yeah, it's still going to be a little bit more time until some of that's online. Polaris, they're just trying to retake control where they can. Natsumi just going back into that triangle to farm up. The build-up is coming out. He is going for the butterfly now. That will make the Luna feel like a much bigger core. And that should force Savage to find a way to pierce through that evasion, cutting off quite a fair bit of his DPS. And the Lelouch doing a fine job of keeping at least one lane shoved out. So Talon aren't just choking them out completely. KP though. Oh,
Jump in towards the north. Lelouch, he's a massive target. Split pushing. Talon will find him. Makoto happily taking the kill with the Sunstrike. Lelouch has been very good at avoiding these gank attempts from Talon while he's been split pushing, but this time around, Savage does finally catch him.
Mindbreaker does a lot there. Just that short duration of silence is enough to find that rebound from KP to get the chain stuns off and Sunstrike damage to just clean it out. A really excellent neutral coming out here for Talon. Smoke out from Natsumi and AU. They do find the mid tower here, Talon. So off the back of that one kill, they're opening up the map a lot more their way. And they'll be able to find top as well. Just without the Ember, it just doesn't feel like you'll be able to get things done. And they scout out the rush. So probably after shoving in top just a bit. In fact, no, they just rush in. Savage and KP, they're enough.
Nothing to hold them back. You've got the sidekick up, so just go for it. Shards available as well. See who they give that over to. Meanwhile, Makoto, he's got a full sight device down the Invoker. He's coming on the Courier. He'll join the Roshan pit and will Polaris, this is not something they can really afford to give up, but it seems like they've decided, let's just take the time, take the space, go into that diet triangle, let Natsumi farm. It's all we can hope for, because chances are, you just can't fight. Like, this Roshan fight, there's no chance it works for Polaris.
No, it really doesn't. They don't have that much team fight on hand. They only really have what? Just sleight of fist spam and maybe an Eclipse coming out from Natsumi. They've got good area denial, I suppose, with a Tombstone and, of course, Illuminate.
We'll see Makoto, so he'll BKB TP out. AU will do the exact same. Makoto unable to catch anyone. So nice retreat from Polaris. You mentioned the butterfly being built up on Natsumi, and he's desperately trying to get enough gold to have that up. Just to give himself a chance of being able to go to a right-click war against Savage. But it seems like Talon, they might go high ground before he even has it up. In we go. Alacrity popped. Savage onto Force. We'll back off. It's all about chipping away and just stealing stats over and over again. Once you have 2 charges of Pounce up.
Yeah. You just need a few hits. Level 20 talents up for Savage. +1 per stack. So you're feeling pretty good in these prolonged fights now. 4 to Slark. I think the safest play right now for Talon looks to be top. Just clear out that tier 2 that you kind of left behind. And just fully shut down the map. They've got good forward wards down bot to watch if Polaris does dip outside to try to farm. And we haven't yet seen that Ag Static Storm here from Hyde as well. So still some reveals to be done. And Hyde's just been dying a bit too quick. Savage all by himself. I mean, again, as you mentioned, Mike, there's nothing that Slark is scared of. Like, Dark Pack just takes away every piece of control and just jumps around like a fish out of water.
Quite literally. Savage. Every game this grand final so far, it's been dominant one way or the other, right? Like, Polaris either dominates or Talon either dominates. I haven't seen the closest of games here in this best of 5 grand final yet. I mean, Polaris, they're not out of this game number 4 yet. But it certainly feels that way when you look at this 22k net worth lead. And Dota Plus is currently giving Polaris 2% chance of winning this game, which I'd say is fairly accurate right now. Because even with the butterfly up, it's like, how are you actually meant to contest the Slark? I don't think Savage is going to care. It might make it more inconvenient. It certainly doesn't feel like it's going to do enough. I think if anything, the Scythe device on Xavius is what you really need, and he does now have enough gold for it. Even then, though, it's not going to be that simple. Not against the Slark.
You might be able to catch Savage off guard once or twice here, though. And that's the opening you really need to capitalize on. Savage, full nullifier up, does skip out on the BKB, and I like to see that. Just have a way to take out more of that Guardian Angel, have a way to stop the 4 stabs here. Going to be big for him to finally start finding some kills once more, as the 4 stabs have been doing a lot of work. Side devices you mentioned, up for Xavius, so they have some play on the high ground if Savage overextends, but he still has the Aegis. I don't see them managing to get 2 surprise uses out from the side of Vice. Although they do have really great D-push with Illuminate, so this is a tedious process.
Well, there's one Hex, but the Dark Pack was going, so now you know the Scythe device is there on Xavius. Talon, be very careful of that now, Savage. Just making sure he used that Dark Pack very efficiently. Alacrity onto the Siege Creep. Sidekick out on Savage. He'll pop the Shadow Dance and jump in. Who are we aiming? He'll go after Lelouch on the Ember. Lelouch trying to fight back. There's your Eclipse out. It just does nothing. They have the Depth Shroud. It hides them. The Eclipse does no damage. And now it's down for 2 minutes.
That is not good news for Polaris. That's pretty much all their contribution coming out from Natsumi. So he's just off the farm elsewhere with smoke. High ground still being chipped away here.
And mid tier 3 tower. Under siege, Savage will pounce away, go for the reset. He is a little bit low on mana. You want to be careful of that, but you've still got the Aegis for 45. He could easily just die and get the reset that way. Here we go again.
Oh,
KP, he's there as well. Rebound is out. They've got the coddle. That's just like the Vice gone without buyback. Force, he's going to try and get something done, but it's only going to be the Aegis. And Savage wants to die anyway. He wants that reset, as now the Glimpse is there. Hyde setting up onto Force, onto the Undying. He does have buyback at the very least, but there just seems to be no point in committing it. They'll let the mid-racks go down, and hope that Talon backs
Radiant's
off.
middle barracks are
But
under
Savage will not. He'll go for the bot racks now.
Yeah, I mean, he's got Shadow Dance back up, Death Shroud back up. There's not much to be scared of. Even a cooldown of Static Storm, it's a minute, but if they stall these fights long enough, which Talon has managed to do as well, should be back up in the middle of the next engagement anyway. So just gone for more.
Radiant's bottom barracks are
It's the
under
bot lane and barracks now. Talon
Dire's bottom tower.
so close to forcing this to a Game 5 grand final here between these two. There's your butterfly. Natsumi does have it up. No buyback gold available, but he's just got to force something. He's going to try to fight. But Talon back off again. Very conservative play. 29k net worth lead. They don't want to throw this one, but they are going to go for a 5-man smoke, so maybe a bit of a fake back.
Radiant's bottom
You'd love to find Xavius on that Coddle, and in fact they do. Pounce is there. He is getting deleted. He is gone for 50.
is under attack.
Hex is out as well. Makoto, he's going to jump in with the Deafening Blast Meteor. It's not going to be enough on force yet. In fact, Makoto, he's getting chased down by zombies. He's going to be okay with the BKB to turn back around onto Lelouch.
Radiant's bottom
Spot
Oh,
side.
Natsumi?
Who have they got? Oh, they've got Natsumi. That's the big one. That's the
Jeez.
Luna. That'll put an end to this game as Savage is hitting way too hard. Game 5 on the way between Polaris and Talon. John, it's been dominant one way or the other. I just want one close game in this best of 5 grand final.